Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're going to do an unboxing and overview of the Pine 64 PinePhone. Now this is the latest version of the phone. It's running Manjaro, which is a Linux distribution based on Arch Linux. So for people who don't know, PinePhone is maybe not very well known by most people actually. This is a phone made by the company Pine64 or the organization Pine64, which designs and sells single board computers and laptops and phones and stuff like that. Mostly catering to kind of the Linux market, people who want to hack around with phones and laptops and run open source operating systems and things like that. So originally I did not know about this company, but I did a video a few months ago on my Google Nexus 5 and running Ubuntu Touch on that phone. And in that video I said that Ubuntu Touch is a pretty cool operating system, but I kind of lamented the fact that it was only available on a few select devices. It was only available on a few different phones like the BQ Aquarius, or in my case the Nexus 5 or some other Nexus models. Basically you had to get some very specific phone models in order for them to run Ubuntu Touch, and usually these phone models were very old, right? Like they were at least 5 years old, right? So I wanted to get, in that video I kind of lamented that there weren't really any new phones that ran Ubuntu Touch, and then someone commented on the video talking about the Pine 64 phone, and that got me kind of interested, so I looked into it, and the Pine 64 phone was available from the website pine64.com. You can buy it for $150 for the normal community edition, and then this one is the $200 version. It's called the Community Edition with Convergence Package Limited Edition. So there's just an increase in flash memory and RAM with this one. That's the only difference. That's the reason for the $50 increase. A bit about the specs of this phone. It's a 6-inch screen, 1440 by 720. So nothing mind-blowing about the resolution or anything. By the way, this is not going to be like a top-end flagship phone, right? Even though this is a current generation phone, I mean, it's shipping right now, right? They're selling it right now, and it's just got shipped to me. But it's not going to compete with any of the current day flagships, right? This is mostly a phone for Linux enthusiasts, open source enthusiasts, and people like that. People who might be looking for something a little bit more recent, up to date than Ubuntu Touch, right? And it runs Manjaro OS, which is the reason why it's called Manjaro, which is a Linux distribution, like I said. The CPU is called an Allwinner A64. Not really seen that chip before, so it's not a Snapdragon, it's not a MediaTek or anything. It's interesting. 32 gigs of internal storage, which is an upgrade over the normal edition. 3 gigs of system memory compared to 2 gigs on the normal edition. And it has a standard 5 megapixel camera. Again, nothing to write home about with the specs here. This is not going to compete with any modern day flagships. It's just going to be a decent alternative for anyone looking for a phone that runs Linux. So yeah, this is the box it comes with. It also came with this little paper here. We can read it right here. What does it say? Okay, so so this is the introduction for Manjaro Linux, right? Community Edition serves for the beta release of Manjaro. So I'm guessing that this version of Manjaro has just been released for the Pine 64 phone, and maybe there's still some bugs and stuff with it, so it's still a beta version. So it's an Arch-based Linux operating system designed with user friendliness, and it runs mainline Linux open source drivers. And you have 2 other variants of Manjaro, Lomari and Plasma Mobile. And it's also a community of end users. Okay, so getting started. Before you boot your device, make sure you carefully read the quick start guide. You'll be greeted with first run setup. Okay, default password. It tells you there's a default password here. Okay, cool. And you can report non-expected issues. Go to it gives you the website and stuff like that. It's capable of running a wide variety of operating systems. Apparently, it can run 17 different operating systems at the time of writing. And they're all linked in Pine64 wiki. So this is a really good phone, like I said, for people who want to experiment with stuff. A couple videos back, I did a video running Lineage OS on my Essential phone. So people who want to like tinker around with Lineage OS, with Ubuntu Touch, Sailfish, things like that might be interested in this phone. Right? What else is in the box? You get a description of the package contents. So manual, PinePhone, power dock, etc. Pine64, which is the organization, made in China, of course. There is another phone company which is catering to people who care about privacy and want to run open source software on their phone and things like that. And I think it's called Librem. So I think the phone's called Librem 5. And they do have a made in USA version, which is extremely expensive, as you can imagine, because there are basically no phones built in the US, right? I think that's the first and only one I've heard of that can build their phone in the US. So the Librem 5, or whatever it's called, built on Pure OS. So yeah, I'm not sure about that phone yet. I don't think they're shipping yet. You have to pre-order it, and I don't know of anyone that has their hands on one. But anyways, the Pine64, I ordered this one. So yeah, I'd say roughly 3 or 4 weeks is probably the time that you'll be waiting to get one. Anyways, enough talk. Now with the unboxing, it's a pretty small box, which I like. Okay, so this is the same thing that I got on the outside. Okay, so we got a duplicate. All right, and then we got, is this the quick start guide? Or is this, okay, here it is. Oh, here's the quick start guide, okay. So yeah, this is the quick start guide. Gotta remove the back case. Nice to use when initial setup mouse, okay. Privacy, okay, so let's take a look at the phone. Okay, so we get nothing else here, but we get a charger. This is a cable, and it's a red USB-C cable. Interesting. That's a pretty interesting color. First red USB-C cable I've seen. Yeah. Anyways, it's a regular USB-C to USB-A cable. It's just in the color red, which stands out. And then we get, looks like an adapter here, a dongle. And yeah, we get a dongle here. That's interesting. It's included in the box. I'm not expecting that, but it's a USB-C. This dongle hooks up to your phone, and you get, okay, so 2 USB 3 ports, and then you get a full-size HDMI, and then you get a full-size Ethernet jack. So yeah, you get an Ethernet port, and you get a HDMI port and 2 USB-A ports. So that's kind of surprising. I did not, ooh, they even put their logo on here. So it's actually a Pine branded dongle. So that's pretty cool. They give you a nice dongle in the box for you, which I did not expect, and hook it up to your phone. So I guess since this phone runs Linux, it can basically run a full-fledged desktop operating system, which is why they included this dongle in the box. That's very nice. So give you USB-C and the dongle, no wall wart. So I'll have to use my own. All right, so now let's look at the phone itself. All right, so this is the PinePhone. See, it's the Manjaro. It's a nice, interesting logo on the back here. The camera is nothing special. It's a 5 megapixel camera, a single one, and with the flash, and that's about it. You can see their nice logo though here. And the bottom, it just says, "Enjoy the simplicity." Interesting. That's their logo, I guess. And then take this off, and yeah, this is does it come with a screen protector on it too? Okay, cool. But yeah, this is a 6-inch display, which is not an OLED display. It's an IPS display, 1440 by 720. Like I said, this will not compete with any of the current day flagships, but it's not meant to compete with the current day flagships anyways. First of all, it's $200, okay? So it's at a budget price to begin with. And second of all, this is meant for users who want to have a different experience on the phone, who want an alternative to maybe Lineage OS or Ubuntu Touch or Sailfish. They want to install a full-fledged version of Linux on their phone. So that's who the PinePhone is catering to. Okay, so down here you have the USB-C port, as expected. And then on the side here, you get a volume rocker and presumably the power button. And then you get a headphone jack. So it's nice that they include a headphone jack here, something that's not included on a lot of phones these days. And 2 megapixel selfie camera, nothing special. By the way guys, I now understand why they make you read the quick start guide. You have to read it because you won't be able to turn on the phone if you don't, because you actually have to take the back cover off. And there's a few settings here because probably this phone is marketed to people who are tinkerers and who want to experiment with their phone. There's a bunch of different settings that you can use once you take the cover off. So there's a bunch of different pogo pins and privacy switches. You can see all the functions right here. You can actually turn these switches off to electrically disable like the LTE modem, GPS, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, microphone, both the cameras and the headphones. So that's pretty interesting that you can actually electrically disable that stuff with these different privacy switches and pins. Like, that's really how you know that the phone is going to be secure, right? You can electrically disable that stuff. So for people who care about privacy, they can turn that stuff off. And there is a micro SD card slot as well, so that's nice to see. All right, so now this one is definitely a quick start guide you want to read. Most phones, you know, you don't really care about reading a quick start guide, but you do have to read it for this phone. All right, so all you have to do is pry the back cover off with your fingernail, and then the back cover will come off. And then once it's off, you can see that there is a bit of plastic in between this and the battery, so you can't actually turn the phone on. You have to actually take this out. So this is interesting. How long has it been since we've seen a removable battery? It's been a very long time, right? We haven't seen a removable battery in a phone in quite a while. So yeah, we have to take this strip off. But yeah, we have a removable battery in a modern day phone, which is really nice to see. Pretty much all the major flagship manufacturers, all the modern, you know, major brands that are making phones these days don't have removable batteries anymore. This is one of the few phones that you can find modern day that you can still remove the battery. So that's pretty interesting. So yeah, the Pine64 phone has a removable battery, which is really nice. Throwback to the early eras. And then the micro SD card slot goes here, as well as the SIM card slot. So both the TF and the SIM go here. And then here are the pogo pins. Like the quick start guide said, along with the privacy switches here. So the 6 switches here to electrically disable parts of the phone, including the modem, GPS, Bluetooth, headphones. Those things can all be, and the cameras can all be disabled here. So yeah, that's a lot of stuff you can do here. So this is a 3 gigs of RAM, 32 gigabyte flash storage, I believe. So I think you can even remove this. So you can even replace the storage in RAM, I think. So that's pretty cool. I've never seen a phone where you can actually do that. That's interesting. And then there's a reset, hard reset button right here as well. So that's pretty cool. You can do all that with a PinePhone. So it's very customizable, modifiable. So that's a huge reason why people would want to buy this phone, is that you can modify it a lot, right? So anyways, now I'm going to start up the phone and show you guys Manjaro OS. Alright, so now I have the PinePhone booted up, and it's running Manjaro OS. And I'm going to show you guys a bit about this operating system, because I bet most of you haven't seen Manjaro running on a phone before. But yeah, there is no fingerprint sensor, there is no Face ID, so we have to unlock this the old-fashioned way, which is via passcode. Right, so this is the default passcode, unlock. Alright, so one thing I'm going to say, I've used this phone for a few hours now. One thing I'm going to say about this phone is that it is not that fast. This phone is kind of laggy, actually. So, I mean, I know that I want to have a kind of like a newer version, like a modern phone that runs like a Linux open source operating system. And I was expecting this phone to be a little bit faster, especially since I got the upgraded version, the $200 version with 3 gigs of RAM. But it still seems to be a bit laggy. And I also installed the latest software updates too. So if I go to software, and again, this is how long it takes for something to load here. This is what I'm talking about with the lag. So okay, software's up to date. I updated it to the latest OS software. So this is actually a slightly speedier version, believe it or not. The version it comes installed with, without the software updates, is even slower. But yeah, I think it's just because this is a beta version, so there's still a lot of bugs and quirks with it. But so far, when I've been using this phone, the PinePhone, I felt that it's very laggy. Like, it's For example, my Nexus 5, this is running Ubuntu Touch, right? This is a phone I did a video on last time. This phone seems a bit faster than this phone, which is crazy to think about because this phone, the Nexus 5, came out in 2013, right? This is a 7-year-old phone. So yeah, the Nexus 5 seems to be speedier running Ubuntu Touch, which by the way is the first operating system that the PinePhone actually shipped with. It initially shipped with Ubuntu Touch, but then it switched to a bunch of different Linux distributions, and now it's running Manjaro. But initially shipped with Ubuntu Touch, and honestly, I think Ubuntu Touch might be, I mean, it's actually running faster on my Nexus 5, and this is a much older phone than the PinePhone is. So, I don't know. Yeah, the Nexus 5 runs really smoothly with Ubuntu Touch, but for some reason, this phone is like a little bit laggy, honestly, so it's like a little bit disappointing. Wallpaper here, I don't believe you can put anything on the wallpaper, so I guess I can click add to favorites, but that's really it. It doesn't really add it to the home screen or anything like that. So this wallpaper is just for viewing, I guess. I mean, it's kind of stupid, but like just like with the Chrome OS, I don't know why I even have a wallpaper where you can't put any, you can't even pin anything on the home screen. So I don't know. Just like with Chrome OS, I don't know why they just have a wallpaper you can't put anything on. Anyways, you press up here. You don't swipe down. Actually, it doesn't work. You have to press on that, and then there's the top menu here, the top notifications bar. You get the cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, battery life, portrait mode or landscape mode. This is silent mode, and then you have flashlight, and then you have undocked and docked mode, which I guess is more pertinent to using this as a desktop, which I guess you could use because this is actually a desktop operating system. And then of course you can adjust your volume here as well, and your brightness. And then also the power button, right? Because actually when you press power here, you can't hold this button. See, you can't actually you can hold it to turn it off, but there's no options to like restart. So if you actually just want to restart, you have to actually press this button up here. Yeah, because pressing this will always just turn the screen off. You don't hold it and get options like you do on Android and iOS. So it's something to think about. But yeah, just press on that. You get the top menu here. And then of course you have the on-screen keyboard, which you can press down the bottom to bring up the on-screen keyboard. So yeah, Manjaro still, I know this is in beta, it still seems like there's some bugs and kinks to work out. For example, I'm gonna go into settings, and this takes a while. Yep, okay. Then go to background to say I want to change my wallpaper, right? So I click add picture here. This should change my wallpaper, right? Well, right now it doesn't do anything. And I think the reason it doesn't do anything right now is because if you look at this, you pull up, you can see that, this is actually like a full screen window right here. And I click this, and do I have to switch in landscape? Yeah, even if I switch to landscape, it doesn't seem to be doing anything. So I think it's just because this was a desktop operating system that's being ported to a phone. So there's still some kinks there. And this is one of the kinks, is that sometimes you'll see this. This is a full screen like desktop app, but when I use it on the phone, it's like zoomed out or zoomed in, right? So I can't see anything. It's like a zoomed in version of this. So I know that this is actually a desktop app and I'm supposed to be able to pick a picture here, but because I'm on a phone, it's zoomed in and I can't do anything. So there's some optimizations that are needed, I think, and I guess that's just part of beta testing this, I guess. I guess I'm a beta tester for Manjaro for PinePhone, but yeah, otherwise you get your standard options here. You got Wi-Fi, mobile, Bluetooth, background, which doesn't work currently, notifications, right? You could put do not disturb. You can do app level notifications, I guess. So there's some more granular fine tuning you can do there. Search, right? You can actually search, kind of do like an app wide or phone wide search right here. So you can do a search right here, which is kind of cool. So you can search for like security or something like that. Maybe not security. Yeah, you can search for like maybe users. Yeah, so you can search up here as well. Online accounts. Yeah, So that's similar to how it would work on a desktop. Applications, there's some pre-installed applications. I'll go through them later. Privacy, you can turn on location services, camera, microphone, file history, screen lock. Right, you can all adjust that for privacy. And sharing, that's for sharing on network. And then sound. So this one, yeah, you can see the microphone is being tested right now. So this is similar to where you see on a desktop here. You can select your input device, which I guess if you hook up a USB-C device, maybe you can actually switch to different devices. Okay, you can test this.
Front, right, left, right.
Okay, and yeah, so to close this, I actually have to go here and then click out of it. It's kind of annoying. So there's some things that's just not optimized for a phone yet. Power. Okay, so you see the battery here, brightness. Yeah, there's a few options here. I wouldn't say it's as deep as the options in Android, right? I think Android would definitely have more deeper options. You can select your region, input source. Of course, you can add another keyboard there, so that's cool. Users. So this is a standard Linux user system, so you can add a different user, you can give yourself administrative permissions and stuff like that, and yeah, there's that. Default applications, you can select which to open. I guess Lollipop is what Manjaro uses to play media files, which I'll be testing out. Yep, and everything's set here. About, and this is to, okay, Manjaro ARM, device name, and it's running GNOME version, Windows System, Wayland, software updates will take you to the software update screen. 3 gigs of RAM, and everything here is unknown. So yeah, even with 3 gigs of RAM, this is the upgraded version, still seems a little bit laggy. So that's a little bit disappointing. And then you can swipe out to get rid of that. All right. The interface. Okay, so like I said, you can't do anything on the home screen. You can't pin anything here, not that I know of, which is unfortunate. So there's no reason to even really look at it. So you have this menu here, which swiping seems to be kind of the only thing I've seen like swiping do is to get rid of the apps, but it doesn't seem to work for either up or down here. You have to actually just press it. So maybe they'll get swiping working for that later. Okay, so phone. Okay, this is a phone. It works as a phone, right? That's yeah. Don't have a SIM card, so it doesn't work. But oh, look at that. So something happened. So yeah, there's a bunch of bugs here. Okay, yeah, obviously didn't work. I don't have a SIM card, but I'm a little bit surprised it turned off the screen. Okay, that's weird. Messaging. Okay, I could send SMS to someone. Maybe not. Maybe I need. Oh, I need to activate an account in preferences. Oh, okay, so I need to add an account and do this stuff. Okay, I'm not going to do that. So no SMS working right now. I'm not going to get SMS working right now. Okay, Firefox. It takes a while to open. This is how long it takes. So yes, this phone is still very laggy. Okay, now it opens. See how long that took? That's why I think like even though this phone just got released and I just got it, and this is supposed to be the latest version of PinePhone, there's still a lot of optimization and improvements they have to do it on it, man. Like that's unacceptable that it took what, like 10 seconds to load Firefox? That's pretty unacceptable. Yeah, so I mean it feels, I know it has a lot of features from a phone from 2012, like the removable battery and you know, headphone jack and everything else, but it performs like a phone from 2012 too, which is kind of sad. I really wanted modern internals, and then I want to run a modern version of Linux, right, on a phone. Okay, so websites will work. Let's try IGN. I think IGN will have a lot of maybe images and stuff, so we'll see how fast that takes to load. Okay, that's all right. Obviously, you should load all the modern sites, right? Because this is a modern. Okay, so it doesn't have a accelerometer. It looks like I have to manually change this into landscape mode, and Yeah, okay. No accelerometer, it looks like. And it's slow, okay. But it should still load because this is a... I don't think that Pine64 would ship a phone that can't load stuff on a browser. Like, that would just be broken. It's slow, but it shouldn't be broken. And then turn back to portrait. And why am I getting this dial pad there? That's weird. Okay, so again, there's a lot of bugs going on here. Alright, this should be the accounts management, I guess. We can manage like email, yeah, address book and everything. Alright, did we try YouTube yet? We should be able to try YouTube, right? I mean, what's a modern phone that if you can't do YouTube? Even my Nexus 5 from 2013 does YouTube with Ubuntu OS, no problem. So this should be no problem. Okay, let's watch it. I don't know if this can handle 4K, but let's try it.
Deadline tomorrow, and your computer just crashed.
Okay, this one's fine. This ad. So it looks like YouTube should be fine with not much lag, at least not running the ad. And okay.
After a lifetime of being the world's most famous enemies, you kick.
Okay. So it looks like YouTube plays. I'm not sure if it will play in 4K, but it will play in lower resolutions. So yeah, that's fine. Now let's look at what's 2048. Is this a game? Oh, new game. 3 times 3 4x4. Okay, I don't know how to play this game. I'm not familiar with 2048. Maybe someone else knows this game better than me, but I don't know how to play this game. Okay, archive manager. This is like a WinZip or WinRAR, I guess. So this will just be unzipping files. So nothing to do there. Authenticator. There we go. It takes so long to load some apps. This is scanning a QR code to log in somewhere. So it's similar to Google Authenticator, I guess. 3 gigs of RAM, I know, but it's Linux. It shouldn't be eating that much RAM. Okay, calculator. Oh, okay, so let's not have the keyboard here. Okay, maybe it wants to have the keyboard all the time. I don't know. Okay. Doesn't look like I can keep pressing it, which is unfortunate. But yeah, just testing out the calculator. I mean, everything has a calculator. Going back to handheld PCs, Palm OS devices, my watch, right? I have a calculator watch. It's like the simplest app, but every operating system implements the calculator differently, which is why I always want to try it. And this one can do scientific, can do engineering. So okay, there's some other different modes. I don't know why the keyboard keeps popping up. That's not useful in the calculator. I want to have this be more full screen. And okay, this is how you switch languages. That's fine. All right. Calendar. Okay, standard PIM app. Again, this is very, very slow. Okay, now this is the calendar. Okay, so you can do an event. Oh, okay. You can do an event here, make an event. Personal. Man, I do have another phone that runs a full version of Linux, which is the Cosmo Communicator. And I think that it runs Linux much better than this phone does. But that's also a much more expensive phone. So this is only a $200 phone. Still though, I thought that because this is a modern phone that Pine64 is selling, that it would run a little bit better than this. But yeah, yikes. The performance on this is pretty bad. Chess, It's chess. At least I know how to play this. Okay. Takes a while to think. Anyways, it's chess. It came pre-installed with this phone. Clocks. You can add a world clock, set alarm, stopwatch. Standard stuff. Okay, so I add Sol, and then I have no. How do I confirm? Yeah, I don't know how to confirm. And if I do this, it goes back. So again, this might be another one of those apps that's not optimized or something, so I'm not sure how to confirm that. Okay, disks. Yep, so this is exactly what you would see on a desktop. So anyways, you have access to your different file storage systems here. You can format stuff like that, SD card reader, attach disk image. Okay, that's cool. There's a lot of desktop stuff that you probably can't do on Android. Or that's not standard on Android. Document viewer. I don't have any documents, but there's a document viewer that it came with. Fractal. Okay. I don't know what this is. It's something that you have to log in or create an account for. But anyways, Fractal's there and it came pre-installed. Curie. My first time using a lot of these apps because I've never used Arch Linux or Manjaro before. This looks like an email client, so okay. So it came with an email client, Gary. Image viewer. Now I know what this does. It views images. I don't have any images to view, but came with image viewer. Actually, I wonder if I can just take a. How do I activate the camera? So I can search apps for camera, not here. Huh. I don't even know how to activate the camera. There's nothing here. Nothing in the apps. That's a bit interesting. So we have a camera, but I don't know how to use it. Huh. There's no app for it. You would think that it would come with a built-in camera app, but it doesn't, and I'm not sure how to open the camera. Okay. Well, I mean, the camera's nothing special anyways, but I would expect it to come with a camera app. It doesn't look like it does. So can't use the camera. Alright, so Lollipop is the music and video viewer. So yes, I don't have any music or video, but it comes with this pre-installed. So you have Lollipop on here. Okay. Well, if anyone wants to use this as a video or a media player, then they can do that. Maps. This is not Google Maps, but I'm expecting something similar. Okay. Mapbox, OpenStreetMap. Okay, that's what it is. Alright, so again, this phone performs like a phone from 2012, which is really kind of sad. It should not be performing this badly. Do you have pinch to zoom? You should have pinch to zoom, right? Okay, we do. We should at least have that. Because if we don't have pinch to zoom, then that's like pre-2012. Alright, so let's zoom in on France and zoom in here. Okay, well anyways, we have maps. I just wanted to see that the pinch to zoom and everything works there. So okay, we just looked at Paris. Party. Night mode. What's night mode do? Okay, is that just a dark mode? Doesn't really matter too much for this phone because it's not an OLED screen anyways. It's a IPS screen. So that's another 2012 throwback. You have an IPS screen, no OLED. Alright, so we have maps, open maps. Megapixels, is this the camera? I think this might be the camera. It's just called megapixels instead of camera. Okay, yes. Okay, megapixels is the camera app. I was wondering, how do I access the camera? Okay, it's called megapixels. So let's put my Nexus 5, oh my god, this camera's really bad. Yeah, this camera phone might be worse than any phone from 2012 actually, because this is really bad. You can see how grainy that picture is, and like you can't see any color at all. Even though I have my lights on, actually you can clearly tell the floor is like, you should be able to at least see like some color from the floor here. You don't see anything here. It's like all gray and like monochrome and stuff. So this might be, the camera might be even worse than a camera phone from 2012, which is kind of sad. But yeah, do not buy this phone if you're looking for a camera phone. This is really bad. Man, this is so grainy. Can I even get the back of this phone? Okay. I don't even want to know what the selfie camera looks like after looking at this back camera. Let's just take a picture, and then I think my Nexus 5 is actually better, for the camera, right? My Nexus 5 from 2013 probably has a better camera than this phone. This is pretty bad. Probably the worst camera I've used in quite a while. Let's go to image viewer, see if we can look at that. Can we look at that image that we just downloaded? Open. Oh, okay. See, again, this is another thing that's not optimized for this phone. I'm gonna have to switch to landscape to even look at this. Oh, but then you're missing the top part. Okay, so you can see you have a kind of like almost like a macOS type of menu on the side here. But yeah, like now on landscape mode, I can't see it doesn't go like high enough. And then in portrait mode, it doesn't go wide enough. So anyways, I think I clicked my picture. Okay, so this is my picture. You can see just how bad that is. That picture, oh my god. Do not use this as your camera phone. This is pretty bad. This is, yeah, worse than 2012, I think. I've not seen a photo that bad for a long time. Okay. That's a really bad camera. Yeah, I would take my Nexus 5, my Cosmo communicator, my Motorola Razr Fold. Any camera would be better than this one. And this is supposed to be a phone from 2020. Okay, this is a file manager, so we have access to file manager, which is nice. Again, this kind of reminds me of a MacBook kind of interface, Mac OS interface, but yeah, that's cool. Nemo, that's what that one's called. Okay, podcast, we have a dedicated app for podcasts, I guess. Yep, we can add new shows with a feed URL, import it from another device, import shows, okay. Oh, I don't listen to podcasts that often. Sometimes I listen to some Joe Rogan, but that's about it. Okay, power supply will tell us the battery performance, I guess. Okay, now it's at 32%. Okay, so I don't think the battery life is very good on this device either. We've seen settings. Software is just our software updates, which should be up to date, but there's also a app store, I guess, because it is Linux, so you can download different Linux apps for us. Any apps that you can download for Arch Linux, you should be able to download and use on this phone. Again, it's probably not going to be optimized though, because a lot of things are not optimized for this phone, looks like. Sound recorder, that's your typical voice recorder. Yep, so that's there. Comes with the phone. Telegram, okay, this is our default messaging device. And I use Telegram sometimes. Yep, it's what a lot of people use if they want to keep their privacy. Okay, anyways, you have Telegram on here. It comes by default on the phone. So that's there as your messenger. Text editor, similar to TextEdit, I guess. Yeah, your typical notepad. Yeah, anyways, you have a text editor there. Again, not optimized for the phone. I really wish they would optimize more apps before they install this on the phone by default. To-do list. What can I say? It's a to-do list. It's there on the phone. Usage. This will tell me my CPU usage and my RAM usage. Okay. So that's my processor usage right now. And storage tells me how much I've used on my storage, and my thermal performance as well, which is actually something I don't see on other phones, so that's something new. So that's cool. You have access to a lot of the performance stuff you would normally see from a laptop or a computer you now have on a phone, so that's cool. And terminal finally. So we get a full access to Linux terminal here. So again, you can see stuff like this, entering some Linux commands, so all your Linux commands should work on here. Yep, so you can do your standard Linux. So again, you can hook up your mouse, keyboard. That's why they gave you the dongle, so that you can hook it up to Ethernet with some USB ports. Then you can use the HDMI to output to a larger display, then hook up a keyboard and mouse, and then you can actually do some programming on this. In theory, anyways. I'm actually not sure how good this processor is because it seems pretty laggy, just from my experience using this so far. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's Manjaro Linux running on the PinePhone, and I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed. I mean, I didn't pay too much for this phone. $200 is not a lot, but still, for $200 in 2020, I still expect a phone that's sort of like 2020 standards, right? But I'm getting a phone that performs like it's something from 2012, right? It's pretty laggy. A lot of the apps are not optimized yet. But then again, they did say that it was in beta, so and there's a big community for it and stuff, so maybe things will only improve over time. But so far, from what I've seen, things are just not optimized right now. Even with the latest software updates, a lot of the apps are not optimized, and things are really slow. Like Firefox takes like 10 seconds to load. A lot of the swipe gestures doesn't work. A lot of the apps are not like just optimized to fit a phone screen. So there's some issues so far with this phone, and this is the upgraded version of 3 gigs of RAM too. So you can only imagine how slower this must be on 2 gigs of RAM, right? So yeah, that's my experience with Manjaro on the PinePhone. I think there's still some work that needs to be done. This is still developing, I know. They just shipped this phone like a few weeks ago, and I think they just started putting Manjaro on these phones like not that long ago. They had a different version of Linux before that, so yeah, I guess it takes some time to optimize stuff for this phone. But right now, as of November 2020, I can't recommend this phone right now because it's still under, like, it's, unless you want to be a beta tester like me, which basically I'm doing right now. I'm basically beta testing this phone. But yeah, unless you want to be like a beta tester like me, I don't recommend you pick it up because you can't really do much with it right now. Like, without being a little bit frustrated, right? It's a bit slow, laggy, a lot of things aren't optimized, and the camera is just crap, man. Oh my god. Like, at least put a semi-decent camera on this phone. Like, this camera wouldn't even... I mean, I've had the Samsung Galaxy Fold 2, right? That flip phone I got from 2017, that had a better camera than this. Like, and that's a budget flip phone for like seniors, right? So yeah, that's pretty disappointing. Whereas compare this to my Nexus 5, which has Ubuntu OS. This is like so much smoother, right? So you can tell how much smoother this is, right? Very, very smooth. And this is a phone from 2013, right? Running Ubuntu Touch and everything. Yeah, it's just way faster, right? Go browser, right? More browser. Everything just loads really, really fast. So actually, I do recommend. I thought that this phone, right, with Ubuntu Touch, that there could be a better version that runs like a newer version of Linux, and that's why I got the PinePhone, right? Because I thought that the PinePhone would be an upgrade over this, right? This is a phone from 2013 running Ubuntu Touch, because Ubuntu Touch doesn't run on that many phones right now. So I thought this would be an upgrade. Turns out this phone is actually a bit slower than this one right now. And the camera isn't as good. The hardware in theory should be better, but it's not. So I don't know what's going on here, and it's just, yeah, I don't know why it's so laggy and everything, and yeah, a little bit disappointed. But anyways, I think it'll probably improve in the future, right? You got a lot of people trying if you got more people trying out this phone and more people in the community willing to improve and optimize the software, the operating system for this phone, then it's just going to improve over time. But right now, I don't think it's as good as my Nexus 5 running Ubuntu Touch, or Lineage OS or Sailfish or any of the other operating systems running on a phone right now, because right now this performs like a phone from 2012, and that's pretty bad. I know it's running like a full desktop operating system, which is nice. It's nice to have all those features, you know, for people who are into the Linux hacker community and likes to work with Linux and open source software. That's great, but I'm not sure. I think I would go with Ubuntu Touch right now until this one improves a bit. Yeah, Ubuntu Touch is definitely better to use right now. It's just, I don't run into a lot of the issues. Like, all the stuff is pretty optimized, it's pretty swift and fast, whereas can't say that about Manjaro right now running on the PinePhone. It seems like it needs a lot of improvement, but hey, it is in beta, so I'm a beta tester for this, and yeah, I guess in time it might end up better. But yeah, for now, that's the PinePhone by Pine64, guys, running Manjaro Linux, and that's it. Let me know if you guys have any questions or comments. I might do an update in the future if this gets a lot better. But for now, you can definitely tell that this is in beta, right? There's a lot of issues with the phone right now. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching.